No Boundaries continues from the historic red brick courthouse in Rockville. At the break, County Councilmember Phil Andrews welcomed the Honorable Joseph Quirk, Associate Judge with the Montgomery County Circuit Court. Councilmember Andrews began with some background.
I know that you came to the area to go to school and went to law school here, and then got appointed to be a judge after many years of lawyering and as a trial lawyer. And what's it like to be a judge?
Well, it's kind of been reaching the pinnacle of my law profession. I did try cases for about 37 years before Governor O'Malley appointed me to the bench. So I had trial experience from the point of view of being an advocate. Mm-hmm. And it's been an adjustment to actually trying to, instead of advocate, to decide what is fair and just between litigants. So it's been a challenge, but it's been a very rewarding challenge for me.
It's such a huge responsibility to be in that position, and it is a big difference in role.
Without a doubt. It was quite frankly a lot easier to simply pour all you could into representation of one point of view with one party and use everything at your disposal and leave it to someone to make the decision. But then my experience has been that it's been much more difficult to sort out what is fair, what is right, what is just, and to try to come to what decision the law requires.
Now, I understand you're from a large family, one of 12 children, and so I guess you had to be a good advocate from an early age, right?
That's true. I am the first of 12 children, and I was put in a position because I was the first boy, and this goes back to in the 40s and 50s, that I was to be the role model and I was to be the responsible one. So as a result, I had a pretty good amount of responsibility put on me at a very early age. And as you mentioned, I was followed by 11 others, and my parents always said, you know, look at how he's doing. So there was a certain amount of resentment that
a bit of pressure too
that siblings felt also. Yes.
Yeah, I bet, and I bet they got that. Teachers, I want you to be just as good as your older brother Joseph was, right?
That actually is true. We attended Catholic schools, and we had, I think, 6 in the parochial school that I attended for elementary school at one time. And unfortunately for my brothers and sisters, I was getting mostly A's and B's, and yeah, that was an interesting proposition.
I was the oldest of 3 boys, so not as many, but I think when you're the oldest, you always are setting the path a little bit, right. And you're creating some kind of trail for your siblings to follow. So you ended up here when you came here for school, I guess.
Yes, I had actually, when I graduated from high school, had just turned 17. My mother got us out of the house as quick as she could to kindergarten. So I had just turned 17 in March of my senior year. I joined the religious order that taught in high school, and I came down here for their program of studies, and so I came to Catholic University and stayed in the religious order for about 5 years. Then I decided that that was not for me, and I was looking forward to having a family, and I finished at undergrad at Catholic U and then went to law school at Catholic U.
5 years, that's a long enough test to know.
It was.
I think so. Yeah, my mother was a librarian, and my dad is a federal civil servant, and so I grew up looking at, you know, what can government do basically to serve people. And I was a Washington Post newspaper carrier when I was growing up, so I did my part to get the news out to people. And it was during the Watergate period. So it was an exciting time to work for the Washington Post in that capacity, and, you know, to see what was happening every day, first thing in the morning. It was, you know, a whole new experience.
Well, I was a paper carrier, and first of several in my family, and but we were in the evening, and so I got to see the afternoon after school news, and you know, that was also, I guess, my getting the news out to some extent.
Unfortunately, all those jobs are gone now for young people. There are no teenage newspaper carriers left.
That's true.
And it's too bad. It was a great job for people, and it taught a lot of responsibility.
It was.
Yeah. I'm interested in what drew you into drug court and working as a judge for it, and you know, what it is. I don't know that the public really knows what it is, and what motivated you to do it.
Well, in reality, I had not even been aware of drug court before I became a judge. Drug court has been alive in Montgomery County for, we're now completing 9 years. Judge Nelson Roop founded it. He brought together all kind of parties that normally are at odds with each other: public defenders, state's attorneys, probation officers, Department of Health and Mental Hygiene personnel, and a whole panoply of people who we, in essence, take the difficult cases. We don't take first offenders, second offenders, or third offenders. We take people who have a long history of criminal convictions. We take people who have at least we believe their criminal behavior is motivated by long-term addiction, and they have failed treatment programs and things of that nature, and are facing significant jail time. So the program accepts these people, and it's usually anywhere from a minimum of a 2-year program to as much as 4 or 5 years, with intense supervision, intense interaction with the court and with all those entities that I just mentioned. The reason I was attracted was that we were on a judge's retreat one weekend down on the Eastern Shore riding bikes, and I got in a conversation with Judge Roop, and he was telling me about some difficulties that had come up in drug court, and I instantly was attracted to volunteer. In my background, one of my brothers died at age 35 of a heroin overdose. And so, and he had a long criminal history as well, so I was an attorney, and I would visit him in all kinds of penal facilities in the state of Massachusetts, also all kinds of programs, including some down here in Maryland and Virginia. But I was attracted to it for that reason. I had also, when I was a lawyer, I had gotten involved in a new program called the Welcome Home Program over at the Pre-Release Center, which was a program started by Catholic Charities where they would set up a mentorship of a person. It didn't have to be a lawyer. It could be any interested person in the community with a inmate, and just to form whatever alliance was going to be needed. I had to give that up when I joined the bench. So the combination of the two, my brother's lasting impact, as well as my volunteer work with inmates was a natural. So I thought it was a way that I could volunteer my time in a sense, and it's for Judge Roop and I, it is a second job.
It's an amazing program. I've never seen a more moving program. I've gone to the drug court graduations. I've been fortunate to go to almost all of them, and the joy and the pride in overcoming addiction and getting into recovery successfully is amazing. They are public ceremonies, so I think it'd be a great thing for more people to see.
Right. We'll have our 140th graduate in this next graduation, and these are people who really were hopeless coming in, and not all have made it through to graduation, but those that have, the vast majority have been able to stay clean, not only stay clean and sober, but also crime-free, even 5 years or more out. So it is a very moving program, and I'm just really privileged to be a part of it. I learned so much from we have weekly interaction. We have, in essence, night court every week at this hour right now. It's 5 o'clock on a Thursday. There'll be 30 participants over there interacting one-on-one with a judge about where they are in his or her progress.
Well, that's an enormous amount of time you put into that. And that's a huge contribution. I know it's tough being a judge, and I know serving on the council, one of the challenges is finding the right balance between family life and work life, because you want to do a great job in your role. It's a critical job, but I know you're very devoted to your family too, and you must enjoy doing certain things in your free time when you have it. What do you like to do if you get a few hours?
Well, at this point, my wife and I have become empty nesters. We're pretty active in our church, so we do a lot of activities there. My second grandchild is on the way, and my daughter lives in North Carolina, so we travel there from time to time. I have a son who's a first lieutenant in Kuwait right now in the U.S. Army, so he'll be coming home in July. And we just get together with family on an informal basis. I don't really have a lot of the usual hobbies of golf and that kind of thing. But now you, in your role on the county council, have an opportunity to introduce legislation or foster legislation or see it through or not. What type of background in your life has brought you to the point of wanting to serve in that capacity?
Well, I've been involved in a lot of things over my life in terms of working on different issues, but what I saw, and I think it was Watergate that had a big influence on me, was that I read about corruption first thing every morning for a couple years. And then when I was 18, my parents gave me a gift membership in Common Cause, which is a group that worked for more honest government. And so I decided at that point that I wanted to do something that would contribute in that way. And I thought going into public service was a way to do that, and that there was no excess of people in public service who were motivated in that way. So I got involved with Common Cause. I was a volunteer with them, and then I moved back to Maryland in 1988 after living in Pennsylvania to become the executive director of Common Cause Maryland, and did that for 6 years and led the battle for campaign reform in Annapolis. And I said, well, I'm going to run for the county council and give that a shot. And I didn't win the first time, but the second time I knocked on 14,000 doors and didn't take any money from PACs or interest groups, sort of keeping with the Common Cause background, and got elected. And so I had no idea I'd be on the council for 16 years, which is what it is now. And I've had a chance to work on a lot of issues I think make the county a better place. The smoke-free restaurant law was something I wrote, and I thought I want to make sure that the people who don't have a lot of people looking out for them, whether they don't have lobbyists or they don't have PACs or maybe they don't have the time to be in front of us, that we think about them too. So I think the people, for example, the biggest beneficiaries of the smoke-free restaurant law were the restaurant workers. And they're not a politically powerful group, but someone needs to pay attention to them too. So it's that sort of thing. You can make a difference, and at the local level, you can see the impact. And that's one of the great things about serving on the county council is you can get things done. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been a very satisfying experience. And then I got to see drug court.
It's better than the alternative, right?
That was one of the things I was going to ask you about, because I was curious. At every drug court graduation but one, and as I've said, we're now to our 16th, you've attended. And I was wondering what caused you to be that interested in coming to those drug court graduation ceremonies?
Really, it was that I felt I had a responsibility as chair of the Public Safety Committee to learn about the program. And then the first time I went, I was really hooked at that point in terms of watching it and seeing it and supporting it. So that, in a nutshell, is it. I wish we could talk longer, because I really have enjoyed getting to know you, and I know there's much more that I'd like to know. But we're running out of time, unfortunately, so we'll just have to keep talking, I guess, off the air.
Okay.
But thank you so much,
well, thank you,
Judge, for joining me today.
Okay.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.